We lost Lev.
And it's the FiveStack on a Thursday with special guests, Scott McFarlane and Lev Parnas is joining us in just a second. And of course, the great Dean Blundell. How are you, Dean?
Good. I'm just looking at the screen. I'm a huge Scott McFarlane guy, so he's on with me, so it's blowing my mind. I got Lev Parnas, my boy, he's on with me. And I'm just kind of taking it all in. And before we get to Lev, we've got a long relationship. Scott, congratulations on your freedom, brother.
Independent media is even better than they said it was going to be.
Right? It's very refreshing.
Yeah. How you feeling? Like let's just start there. How are you feeling, dude? You're the biggest deal on Substack. Everybody knows you walked away from CBS. We all know the story. We don't need to get into it. Let's hold our heads up high. But let's talk about Scott McFarlane at the tender age of your professional career, going out on his own, being the biggest thing on Midas Touch, owning Substack. But like, can we talk a little bit about like the shoulders coming down a little bit? Like, how you feeling?
For like $1 million. First of all, I'm not sure anybody else has ever voluntarily walked away from the job of network news correspondent, but it really is liberating to just open the camera, just talk to people versus waiting for 6:30 p.m. every night to maybe talk to people. And Zeb knows what I'm saying. Sometimes you don't get an audience at all because there's too much other news going on.
Yeah, sometimes you get 30 seconds. Now you got a whole, whenever you want, you got an audience that will listen to you and care about what you're saying. And it's always good stuff, the things that you report on. I'm dying to get into the Melania stuff with you. And I know, Dean, you want to follow up on that, or do you want to just jump in? Because it is breaking news.
I want, the breaking Melania news, and everybody's going to chime in, and Lev will have some inside information. And I'm sure, Scott, this is probably not something that you were able to cover, or if you were able to cover it, they're like, we don't want to upset the big cat tonight. But let's just get to it, and then we'll get Scott's thoughts.
So the big news: Melania Trump comes out in front of the White House press corps and does a remarkable thing. She makes a statement about Jeffrey Epstein. She says that she didn't know him really well. She knew him only as a social friend. She wasn't a good friend of his at all. Now, the pictures of the time certainly suggest a different story. But it's a remarkable statement. I'm going to play you a little bit of that in just a second. But Scott, I know you've been following up with some of your contacts. Do you have any updates on what the news is around why she did this and what might be coming?
First of all, I'm pulling up my phone because I'm getting text messages from one of the Epstein survivors who started off by saying, that was really bizarre. That was unexpected. The first response from the Epstein survivor with whom I'm connecting is that it is great to hear Melania Trump acknowledge the devastating harm to survivors, which the First Lady did. The survivor adds, we need a serious legal mechanism, though, that gets to the truth without putting survivors in harm's way. What she means there, Seb, is the First Lady volunteered Congress to take care of all this, to give the survivors an audience, to give them a platform. But those survivors are concerned about having identities exposed or having some type of need for immunity based on what they say. Then another survivor texted in to say, my feeling after thinking about this for a beat is that it's all a deflection from Pam Bondi and a ploy to put the burden back on survivors from Pam Bondi in this administration. It really is something, guys, for the First Lady to volunteer Congress to do the work here on this, because the administration's the one taking the hits for not releasing enough of the Epstein files. They have 3 million pages that have not yet been released of the Epstein files. They're taking hell from both parties for that. And the First Lady seems to be pushing this over to the Article 1 branch.
Yeah, she seems to be deflecting a little bit there, but it is a statement that came out of nowhere. So everyone is surprised today that she made this. Word on the street, and who knows if this is true, is that there is something big coming. And this was a preemptive strike, really, that this was an attempt to preempt what might be some pretty negative coverage that's coming out. And Lev, you have the similar insight, and certainly I saw some of your tweets earlier on about this. What's your sense of why the White House is doing this right now? And drive safe.
Well, yeah. Well, first, thank you. I got all prepared. I was gonna say no. First of all, she wouldn't have came out unless there was some chaos going on. So obviously, when she came out, I started making calls, I'm sure, just like Scott and everybody else did, to try to find out exactly what was going on. So what I'm hearing is actually there's a reason why she mentioned the Daily Beast. It's interesting how a lot of things align to some of the work that
Mm,
some of our great independent journalists have been doing, like Ellie Leonard.
mm.
I think from what I'm hearing, there is something coming out, and it might be coming from Michael Wolff. It might be something might be coming out, and because and that's where it was intended. If you hear her speech a little bit, the way she's saying people are talking, and then she mentioned the Daily Beast in particular, and
Yeah,
one
she
of those
names them, and she
statements.
said that she had sued them to try get them to retract. Now, Michael Wolff does have 100 hours of tapes, he claims, of himself with Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe amongst those is a tape where he talks about Melania Trump, and that might be something that they're trying to head off if that is released. It does seem. Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
actually, Michael Wolff was just on Michael Cohen's podcast. And on Michael Cohen's podcast, Michael
Mm,
Cohen asked him directly the question. This is one of the things I just sent over to Congress. We just sent this over to Congress where where Michael Cohen asked Wolf directly. He said, "What if you get Melania to, get in a deposition and you ask her if she slept with Trump on Epstein's plane, and she says no and lies?" And Wolf said he has recordings of Epstein saying basically that Melania had sex with Trump on his plane. So he literally, this happened about a week and a half ago. So I don't believe in coincidences, because when he came out and made that statement on Cohen's podcast, after that we've been putting a lot of pressure with Ellie and, as you know, Zev, and
mm.
Kate Justice and others, delivering a lot of stuff having to do with Michael Wolff. We've been putting a lot of pressure on Joanne. I'm sorry, her last name I forgot.
Yeah, the
One
editor
of
of
the
the Daily
editors,
Beast.
the Daily Beast. I've been calling her out, asking her to come out because she has a podcast she does with Michael Wolff also. So the pressure that we've been putting on, and her coming out now, I truly think it is not coincidence. It's coincidental, and it's going to have something to do with something there. Trump, knowing Trump the way I know him, for him to have Melania come up and seeing her as angry as she was, this is definitely preemptive. Something's about to break.
Yeah, she did seem really upset and kind of, we just don't see her like this, Scott. This is not something you regularly see. The First Lady does not make impromptu press conferences very often. She certainly doesn't do this kind of stuff very often. For her to come out
No,
on
I mean,
such
she doesn't
contentious
make
issue.
public appearances, public statements solo very often. I mean, she was at the Easter egg roll next to the Easter bunny and the president yesterday. That's a different issue. Here's the thing. This was unexpected. It was an unsolicited set of remarks. She made some cryptic references to reports that may be casting her in a bad light. She wanted to put those reports to rest, but she didn't say what the reports were. So everybody's now playing a parlor game of what was the predicate to all this. And all that means is this chronic controversy of the Epstein files around the Trump administration is inflamed again. And if the president's trying to put this in the rearview mirror, and we know he is because Todd Blanche said this should be in the rearview mirror, this didn't help matters.
Have we? Sorry, guys. Did we play the clip while
No, I
I
was
was
about to play a short clip, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Before you play the clip, and Scott just brought up a fucking unbelievable point. Is he is currently enjoying the distraction that the fog of war is giving him around the Epstein files, around the cover up of Epstein, around the Melania piece, around Trump, around not just Pam Bondi's DOJ, but Trump's crimes. No one's talking about those things in total the way they were. I mean, this was kind of why they, if you ask anybody about Epstein fury or Epstein epic fury, this is Epstein fury. This is what we all know that Donald Trump is doing. He's trying to distract everybody from the Epstein files. So I find it really odd that she tore that Band-Aid off today with really cryptic language that you talked about, references, Scott, to things that we don't know where they are. Which reports are casting you in a bad light? There's millions of them. Which ones? And then that she chose to sell her book at the end of it. But let's watch this clip, because that is really concerning. If I'm Donald Trump, or if I'm anybody in the Trump regime, the fact that they had cover from the war in Iran, and that cover disappeared. Now this is now on the table. This is the main course. This is the entree again, and it wasn't for the last 40 days during the war. But let's play that clip, Zeb, if you have it.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance.
That's where we're stopping it there. She's referring to the email there, by the way, that she had sent Ghislaine Maxwell that is in the Epstein files, and it's from her asking for a visit or something like that in the near future. But, it's important to really understand how this does not look to me like they just hung out at social circles every once in a while. The body language in all of these certainly suggests that they are quite close. This is not just your typical, point and shoot at some event. We know that Epstein was Donald Trump's best friend for 15 years. During this time, it seems remarkable to me that she would not consider Epstein something more than a social acquaintance, which is what she's suggesting there. It doesn't hold up. That, and of course, there are a number of other things inside the Epstein files that suggest that that's exactly where they met. They met through Epstein. There's this one, which I pointed out in a recent story on narrative.org, where this is from an acquaintance who knows Jeffrey Epstein, who writes to him. I remember flying back with Donald on his plane. The first weekend I went to visit you in Florida was the weekend he met Melania. And he kept on coming out of the bedroom saying, "Wow, what a hot piece of ass." I mean, that's a unsolicited email from a friend of Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein, describing how Donald Trump and Melania Trump met in pretty intimate circumstances. Now, you could take that to mean a bunch of different things, but at face value, it certainly looks like these guys knew each other.
Yeah.
Not only that. Well, I was going to say, not only that, the important part, I think, is to listen to. I always, watch what it is they're saying, particularly, and she's saying right now the people that are attacking her. There's really nobody attacking her. I mean, if you take a look at the news, the only person really attacking her and talking about her is Michael Wolff and the Daily Beast podcast, and that there's really nobody else attacking her. The fact, and again, I'm going to say it again, the fact that he came out and mentioned that he had the tapes of Melania, on Cohen's podcast a week and a half ago, the fact that she's coming out making a statement about this now, the fact that the pressure has been going by Ellie Leonard and everybody else on the Daily Beast and everything else, I'm very, 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 I think possible that the Daily Beast is about to run a story or something having to do. Ellie
was saying just that when I was on with her earlier on. She was mentioning that could be the case, that audio might come out. It would be high time that he released that audio.
I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please. I was going to say, Scott, would love to hear what you have to say too, because you former Washington beat guy. Lev knows the family. Lev's aware of the relationships. He totally knows what's coming. I mean, what does this smell like to you, just tangentially from your experience?
Two things. First of all, I absolutely love we can watch Lev fill up his car at the Shell station right now. I think we all need to take a moment and appreciate this opportunity.
$5.27 a gallon, folks. I just want to let you know that. I don't know where Donald Trump is talking about. That's crazy. Crazy.
He said it's a buck 97.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get your golden gas.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Let me look at the game theory here. If she's trying to preemptively diffuse a bomb that's coming, if she's trying to diffuse a media story that's about to hit, feels like she has done everything in her power to call attention to this media story that's coming. I mean, could she do more to elevate and raise the profile of whatever media organization is about to publish? There are different public relations strategies that are employed to try to deal with bad news or forthcoming bad news. This is not one I often see recommended.
Yeah, this is crisis management, but handled in a really difficult way. I mean, it's because we're not talking about Jeffrey Epstein today. Most people are talking about the Iran war. They're talking about Bibi Netanyahu. The focus is not on Epstein until she came out with this mammoth statement, which she has never done before, denying all these things about her. It seems so unprovoked, and yet here, she isn't being attacked, as you point out, Lev, and yet here she is making it a big deal. The only reason you'd make it such a big deal is if the stuff that's coming out is really bad.
If it's even worse than drawing attention to it, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
right.
I was gonna say, Scott's 100% right. I mean, in a normal environment, normal people, you don't cause attention, especially if you know it's gonna come up. But this is Donald Trump. Don't forget what we're talking about. First of all, he has a different strategy, and this is one of the reasons why, in my text today I put out there, it says the timing. With him, timing is very important because he is the master manipulator when it comes to manipulating the media, the news cycle, and how things go. So right now, in the middle of this war, in the middle of this thing, he just laid a bomb with Melania. We're talking about. I wouldn't put it past him that sometime later tonight he throws another bomb out there, like all of a sudden the ceasefire ends or something else happened, and all of a sudden you're going to wipe this whole Melania thing under the rug really quickly and move on to the next one. That is, one of the masterpieces where Donald Trump really knows how to manipulate the media and make them chase all of these things, rabbit holes.
And a good point, and I would ask both you and Scott this question. Are we at the point in Donald Trump's presidency a year in where he needed a war to distract everybody from the Epstein files, and he might restart that war to distract everybody from the Epstein files again? Or are we in a place where he's using the Epstein files to distract from his absolutely disastrous military adventurism?
You just blew my brain, Dean. You just blew my brain.
Let me deal with two different conspiracy theories here. First of all, we'll have to approach the conspiracy theory and deal with the fact that Lev filled up his gas tank in 30 freaking seconds. It's the fastest fill. Did you get 1 gallon because it's so expensive?
That was only half a tank. I can't afford a full
He can only
tank.
afford half a tank at $5.27 a gallon, bud.
I don't subscribe to these theories of wag the dog here. There's one fundamental dynamic that you can't escape. This Epstein crisis for the Trump administration is a chronic condition. If a doctor were to have you walk in with a bad knee, he'd say, "There's nothing I can give you. I can't give you any drugs. You have a chronic knee problem. You'll learn how to manage the pain on your own and deal with it." For the Trump administration, this is just a chronic condition they can't find medicine for. It's going to be there from the start to the finish. It'll re-inflame time to time, sometimes by the first lady's doing. But there's no getting around this. They can't disprove a negative. Let's assume for a moment that they were to release every page they could, every page, fully unredacted. There would still be a subset of people who think they're hiding something because they can't prove they're not. They can't get past this hill. They're just going to have to learn to live on it, no matter how transparent they're being.
I don't expect transparency anytime soon, because Pam Bondi was supposed to appear before Congress on the 14th, and she's now telling everybody, "Hey, I'm no longer in the DOJ. So I don't have to go." And the White House co-signed that decision as well for Pam Bondi not to show up. Like, dude, you want to talk about a lack of transparency. You want to talk about like being on the run or guilt in its finest form, not allowing. And she has to go. I mean, she's going to get.
She does have to go. Yeah.
She doesn't
Scott,
have
what are you hearing? Will she get forced to appear?
This is drawing equivocation from the Republicans on the committee. They're not celebrating this decision by the Department of Justice to absolve Pam Bondi. And it sounds like they're still trying to figure out a way to open that door back to get her in there as a private citizen. They haven't ruled it out. That says something, because the Epstein coalition in Congress, the Epstein Files Transparency Coalition, has always been this unicorn, this unique bipartisan coalition where both parties do have skin in the game on this. It's a little bit different than the other controversies of the Trump era. Democrats say they're going to try to force the issue and find her in contempt if she doesn't show as required, as subpoenaed on Tuesday. But I think there's still an open door for Republicans to find some way of doing this in short order. And the fact that they haven't declaratively said now she's off the hook means she's not off the hook.
No, she's definitely not off the hook, but she's definitely close to off the hook. I could tell you, because I'm speaking to somebody close to Comer, he's having a lot of pressure. Comer himself is getting a lot of pressure and squashing this thing. But you're right, Scott, and this is something that is a byproduct. You got Nancy Mace and others inside, besides Massey and others that are now, pushing for her to, especially after her performance there. Comer's getting a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, what are we really debating? I mean, what is the mechanism? How can they force her to do it? If they even held her in contempt tomorrow,
if they were to reissue, if they were to reissue a more unequivocal subpoena, one that says we want private citizen Pam Bondi of X Main Street to show up at this date and time before the committee, there are Republican votes to join the Democrats in that.
Yep.
Nancy Mace
100%.
being one of them. There are Republicans on the Oversight Committee who would either feel pressured or inspired to join the unanimous vote of Democrats to reissue a subpoena to make it more unambiguous. I don't think it's ambiguous as it stands now, and it's being defied, but they would put the pressure on the administration to find another way to extract her from it, which means you re-inflame that chronic condition.
Is the difference that if she testifies as a private citizen, she can claim the fifth, or can whatever the expression might be there. So, but where she, as an attorney general, she couldn't, and that's the distinction that people are telling me might be the reason behind her not testifying as an attorney general. Are you here? Is that true? Do you guys know if that's true?
That's definitely the case, but that's not the only case. It's also, the mechanism of holding her in contempt would have to come from the DOJ, and Todd Blanche is not going to hold. I mean, this is a very sticky situation, and I'm not testifying. Trump, had her go is because he's trying to get her out of the way, because she became such a she blew up to such a degree after her testimony, being such a bipartisan, basically somebody that they wanted to attack. So, but again, anything is capable in this administration. And one of the things is, we got to keep pushing, keep our independent voices, keep going out there, keep making sure, pushing the Congress people to keep not letting this situation die. Because like Scott said, the one thing is 1,000,000% true. No matter how Trump tries to wag the dog, not wag the door, distracted, try to walk away from it. He has, the Epstein files is a chronic disease that's not going away. He's going to have to figure out one way or another to deal with it. And I truly don't believe he can, because he's truly complicit. Melania's complicit. They're all complicit. They're all in the loop. They're hiding a lot of people, Lutnick and others. I mean, we've seen what we've seen in the Epstein files already come out. You could see the complicity in all of them, and not just from maybe even the pedophilia or the sex trafficking, but also the money, the corruption, the financial crimes, all of the relationships with foreign agents, Russia, all these things that already you're seeing that there's no way they could go away from it. And not only is it, I think it's already a bipartisan situation. MAGA sees it, everybody sees it, and I don't think there's any way they could cover it up or whatever they're doing.
Would Trump have had to have okayed that press conference? She didn't wildcat that, right? Like
100%.
I think so.
It was choreographed. They wrote it out for her, everything.
What's really surprising is this call that she's making for public hearings, where the survivors will be testifying in public in Congress. That's a really, and I'm going to play the clip where she talks about this. It's a real departure for the White House, who's basically told everyone they want the story to disappear.
The time was to act. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
That's a very
See,
interesting statement. Go ahead, Scott.
very-
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh,
Let,
go
let
ahead,
me,
Scott.
let me
I'm
jump
sorry.
on this because I've got to run for a radio hit in a moment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That is deflection. She doesn't have the
Yes.
power or the authority to tell Congress what to order for breakfast. And Congress already knows it can call victims and survivors to testify. They already know they have that bandwidth. And in fact, members of Congress have long been calling for that already. The White House could stage an event where the survivors could speak. You could do it in that same room. They could use that camera and that microphone that she had hooked up in front of the window. That is a bunch of empty calories, according to the survivors and the members of Congress with whom I'm speaking, though the members of Congress are keen on doing this if James Comer or another committee will let them.
Well said.
It's interesting to the
That's
survivors
good.
that she wants to call.
Well,
There's
well,
no
well,
other
that's-
witnesses.
well,
Well, but dude, like to Scott's
but that's-
point, like
yeah, go ahead.
they can hold a press conference anytime and let him speak, right?
Yeah.
They can do all of that stuff. Thanks, Scott McFarlane. Everybody
Yeah.
go follow Scott anywhere you can find him. He's
I don't
brilliant.
hear Dean.
Oh,
Do you hear Dean?
Oh,
Do you hear
I hear Dean. I hear Dean.
yeah.
You don't
Just
hear
log
us.
off. Tell him to log off and log
You have
back
to
in.
log off and log on. I think because it's one of these things we
Switching-
can't
it's a
fix.
switching
Okay.
issue.
I'll log
But-
off and log on.
But he talked about Zev and Lev when he comes back, and I'll pose the question to you. You know, the interesting thing about that statement, other than it being fucking insane, is that all of those mechanisms, triggers, and opportunities are available anytime, right? Whether you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
have a press conference, you want to be in front of Congress, and the other part of that is all of those testimonies, those sworn under oath testimonies that she's asking these women to come and give Congress, right? Which she's not asking. It's a gas, it's a ploy, it's a joke. She's just trying to look like she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, and that was the only thing that mattered to her. And something huge is coming, which we all kind of know. But the thing that I look at is like, I'm like, okay, so you want them to come and tell their stories, but like all of those stories that are in the Epstein files that your husband won't release, like that's all they have to do. All the 53 pages, all the unredacted stuff. I mean, every
there's
testimony
much more than
sworn
that.
under oath.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
videos,
it's-
pictures, like you want to, if you want to know what happened, if you want to know what happened to these women, you have videos and pictures that you are fucking hiding, or you are burning, or you are shredding right now.
But Dean,
It's all
this
there.
this is strategic, brother. This is
Yeah,
strategic. This
totally.
is why I want to. This is so strategic, and this is why they wrote this for her. Because look what she did. She basically tried to. That's why they had her come out to the speech, because she's a woman, and she came out basically saying like the women, and Scott's 100% right. She has nothing. She can't tell Congress what to do. She's telling Congress to basically let the women testify. So again, she's putting the burden on the survivors. She's putting the burden on the survivors. So you know what? If you want the women, how come your husband doesn't invite the women to the White House that they could sit in the Oval and talk
She
to
can do
him
it.
directly? She could do it. Sit down with her. And we should, you know what? We should do that. You know, that should be our first call to action. So she opened her big mouth and said, you know, we should demand for her to sit down with the survivors and listen to the stories.
No, the
And then-
survivors
and the
should say
White House.
they'll come and talk to her. They really appreciate her
Yeah, yeah.
support, and they'll be right there to
We're
talk to
gonna
her.
do We're gonna do that. I'm gonna reach out to some of the survivors' lawyers. We're gonna do that. We're gonna call her at their own game, because you know that's all it is. It's theatrics, folks.
You know what I find so interesting is this idea that she's focusing on the survivors, because there is a lot more to the Epstein world than just the victims of the human trafficking. And she's refocusing just on the survivors. And that to me is interesting, because that's, again, seems like a deflection, as well as it is sort of, she just says, I'm not a survivor of Epstein, but really she's kind of cloaking herself a little bit in that
No,
survivor stuff.
Listen strategically to what she said there, Zev. I don't know if you heard it, Lev. I did, where she's like, "I am
Yeah.
not Epstein victim."
Right.
She
course
says
not.
it.
Yeah, she said.
She says
Yeah,
that.
she said it. She said, "I'm not a victim."
But she
She
really
says,
is
"I'm not a
still.
victim."
But she didn't say
Right.
she didn't say she got brought over by the John Luke Burnell, Paolo Zampoli,
Right,
Epstein
No.
model
right.
pipeline. She didn't say,
Yeah.
like, if she's not a
She would
victim.
never say that because I mean, she would have lied before, but she's still presenting herself as being sympathetic to the survivors. And in some ways, she's one of the people who was recruited out of an Eastern European country to become a model. And who knows what she had to do on the way up there to meet all these people. Certainly, according to some testimony, Donald Trump was someone who she slept with, and, he appreciated her, whatever it was.
Great piece of ass, I believe.
Thank
is
you
what
for
he
saying
said.
it.
Yeah, great
but-
piece of ass.
Really hot piece of ass.
We have Dean to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We have Dean to
Thank
fill in
God
the
for Dean.
blanks. Thank God
But
for
I
Dean.
mean, there's something there where you're sort of like, okay, she's presenting herself as sympathetic in that way, with this and appreciative of all the survivors and understanding of the survivors. That seems to me like a way of saying, I'm one of you guys. I want to hear your story.
Well, that's the manipulation. The manipulation is she's basically saying, I'm one of you, so let their stories be heard. Like, again, you come out and tell us there's so many powerful men. The survivor's testimony has to go on record. Let it go down under oath and record. The survivors have to go under oath and the record. Meanwhile, why doesn't your husband go under oath? Why don't you go under oath and say, why are you giving a statement in front of the world? Why don't you go under oath and say the same thing you said under oath? Why don't you do that under oath, Melania? And that's the whole thing. Listen, I just want to tell you guys, this is the beginning to this. We definitely are going to go live later on, either today or tomorrow, because I'm going to keep making phone calls, because this is a shitstorm that is about to break. I have a feeling in my bones, because for Melania, for him to let her come out there and make that statement, I've been analyzing it. I actually am pulling up, and I thank you so much for having me. I love you guys. Keep
Love you too, buddy. Great to see you.
And great to see you. And I know we're not going to have coffee and tea with Dean, because Dean's going on vacation, a well-deserved one. He needs a little bit, folks. But maybe Zev will step in. Maybe me and Zev will join. Oh, perfect. Awesome, brother. So I will speak to you guys later, because I'm pulling up. But as soon as I get some breaking news, I'll text you guys and we'll go live.
Thanks, Lev. Thanks so much. And also, I should point you to this one piece of evidence that we found in the Epstein files, where an assistant of Jeffrey Epstein's, under oath, under proffer here, says Epstein introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump. That's a sworn statement from 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
This isn't just a press conference where she
no. This is so if there's evidence, there's lots of evidence, and I'm sure there's more out there we don't have.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thanks,
Just
Lev.
the beginning,
Thanks,
guys.
Lev.
Take care, guys. Thank you, guys.
Love you, pal.
It's always great to see you. Bye.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I think, so I don't know, maybe it's not a question, maybe it's more of a statement. I am shocked, but I get shocked a lot. I'm not really that shocked. Like, I'm not shocked when Trump threatens to wipe out entire civilizations overnight. I'm not shocked when he's like, it's your fault, NATO. You made me do this. Now clean up my mess, which he did today as well. I'm not shocked by the fact that he's like, oh, we're hanging around Iran. Just in case the shooting starts, like, I'm not shocked by that. I'm not shocked by anything. And I'm not shocked by the fact that Melania did her own press conference. I'm not shocked by that either. What I'm shocked about is the Epstein files were dead and buried in the court of public opinion for the last month, which was the goal of Operation Epstein Fury. And for her to come out and reignite this conversation and start people like us that have the ability to go to survivors on the phone and go, hey, what do you think? To do it at this time, at this juncture of Trump's failing fucking disastrous wreck of the fucking Hindenburg of presidencies. Like, it's like a disaster. It's on fire and it's falling to the ground. And she's like, let me make it way worse. Right? Yeah. Now we're back with Epstein being at the top of the fucking news cycle, because everybody wants to know why she did this, not why she decided to open up this fucking wound again for Donald Trump and the regime, which is killing them slowly. To Scott McFarlane's earlier point, it is metastasized into something that is so chronic that we didn't talk about it for a month and a half. She's talking about it today. It is now the #1 trending story.
Yeah.
Epstein files, Melania Trump, exactly what the regime tried to bury with this stupid fucking military adventure.
Yeah, for them to come out and for her to do something like this, which is so unprecedented from her, like, other first ladies, yes, but she doesn't go out and do public press conference that much. She'll do a statement here and there, but one that wasn't predicted, one that wasn't planned. She just shows up and she, signals to everyone there's something big coming. Now, if it is, let's say, we don't know for sure, but if it's Michael Wolff, who may have finally come to his senses and realized that he's holding on to important evidence about crimes that could be happening right now, about important evidence about the president is doing, and maybe he should release these tapes. If that's what has happened, and he's having his come to Jesus moment and is releasing those tapes, well, we know that that's what's on those tapes, because one of the reasons he is so comfortable suing Melania and Donald, he claims, was around the fact that he had evidence that that's how they met. It's interesting, by the way, that one thing that I said there, in the one message I showed you, it said they were traveling back on Donald's plane. And she said she'd never been on Epstein's plane. It's quite possible that that's what they're playing with, is those kinds of differences. Because I think Michael Wolff has said Epstein's plane, but it doesn't really matter whose plane it was. It doesn't really matter. They were still doing it on the plane. And Epstein probably introduced them that weekend. So,
That was the first time they boned, according to Epstein, too, was on that flight.
Yeah,
So,
they just had met.
yeah.
So, why not?
First time they
Great
had
piece
sex.
of ass.
That's what he
Great
said to Michael Wolff. First time they had sex, it was on the plane. It was after they had introduced him, and he knew her a year previous, right? You don't know someone a year previous, and you don't introduce them to your best friend if you don't know them, and if you're just general fucking acquaintances. And the other part that everybody's missed, going back to the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, and I think this is worth saying. Yes, of course, there's dozens of emails of them corresponding. I don't correspond with general acquaintances I barely know with. Hey, babe. In Saint Tropez this afternoon. What are you doing, huh? Hey, hon, are you going to be on the island? Hey, babe, we're in Paris. Like, babe, hun, love, you're my best friend. Like the fucking language that they use. And she's like just expecting the American public to sit here and watch her and go, oh, well, maybe those fucking emails didn't matter. And then this email are these fucking pictures of them having a great time.
I mean, they look like
dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures.
They look like they know each other quite well here. Look, as Jeffrey knew Melania, as you point out, well before he knew Donald, and they also had a history of passing girlfriends to each other, right? I mean, there's at least another 2 girlfriends, I believe, on the record who've said that they were passed on from one to the other. So, is Melania one of those girlfriends? We don't know. Now, she may deny having an affair with Jeffrey Epstein or having a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but a lot of people were involved in that world back then, and a lot of people might deny it today. It doesn't mean it never happened, but we have on the record Jeffrey and Donald and some of their victims have said that he passed girlfriends that he had dated onto Donald Trump. So take that for what it's worth.
They had like check signing ceremonies when they would horse trade women.
Yeah, $30,000. This is crazy.
For a completely used female. I mean, to your point, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the thing about it is that this is a subject, and this is why it is so crazy to me that she did it. So shocking that she did this, is that this is a subject that everybody on the left, or everybody who's not completely captured to some extent by the MAGA cult and the MAGA cult, right, wants answers, to the point where you're getting these big time personalities and influencers that help put Trump in the White House openly breaking with him. And this just happened. I'm going to read this to you. The most insane. And that's saying something for this week.
Yeah.
Trump Truth Social tweet where he went after Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones. Let me read this to you. This is fucking crazy. And this all has to do with Epstein, all of it. And of course the war, because they're down on the war, which, they have an iota of humanity, which some of them apparently do, underneath that fucking disgustingness they call a skin. I know Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting for me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have nuclear weapon. Like, this already doesn't make sense. Anyway, because they have one thing in common, low IQs. They're stupid people. These guys are actually pretty smart. I mean, they're fucking morally bankrupt, but they're
Yeah.
bright people. They know it. Their families know it. Everyone else knows it too. Look at their past. Look at their record. I mean,
Their past when they were supporting him.
he just commended them on their past, and now he's saying, look at their past.
Yeah.
Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV anymore because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers. They'll say anything necessary for some free, cheap publicity. Now they think they can get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them. Oh, everybody's talking about them.
It's all people
And their
talking about
views are the opposite of MAGA. Or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval rating of Trump. That approval rating doesn't exist anywhere on the planet, by the way. That was a lie that he told about Harry Enton the other day. Not hand-flailing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he was fired by Fox. He's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. I'm not done. This is great. I fucking like, I cannot stop laughing at this guy today, which is really good because we've been in a dark place for a while. Everybody laugh with me. It's good. And he says, or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she's not.
Uh-oh, we lost Dean. That is unfortunate that we lost Dean, but he'll come back in a second, I'm sure. Look, this stuff that's going on with Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and company, attacking Donald Trump for what are ludicrous decisions that he's made in the last few days is hilarious to watch because it's, duh, we've been saying it all along. But watching him melt down over it is even more kind of self-satisfying or satisfying. It's really interesting that he is in such crisis right now. He has no defenders. He has no one left, in the world to defend him. He's just, it's just him and maybe a couple of other people who are willing to speak up for him. Todd Blanche, maybe. No one's there to support Donald Trump anymore in that world. They're all gone. You're back.
I'm back. I was reading that for a solid 10 seconds after I lost audio.
Oh, okay.
So
well, I was filling in for you, but yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we got to Alex Jones, bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things, lost his entire fortune, horrendous attacks on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims. He was leading the charge with Alex Jones, if you remember, mocking the Sandy Hook victims, said it was a CIA act, it was sabotage. I don't know if you remember that. I certainly do. He said it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers. They will always be. Now fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and other radical left news organizations are hailing them, giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA. They're losers. Just trying to latch on to MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want. But when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on the world and country affairs. I'm too busy on the world and country affairs. And after a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Trader Brown. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing the right thing for our country. There we go.
Right.
MAGA
right. That's why you spent all this time on this tweet that you put out because, you don't care about this at all.
He doesn't care about. He just raged about for 2 straight pages, right? Now he's like, I don't really care about any of that stuff. I only care about our country. MAGA is about winning and strength and not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again. And these people have no idea how to do that, but I do.
Yeah, you certainly know how to turn the world into a crisis-ridden, chaotic place. I mean, it's so ridiculous considering everything he's been through in the last few days that he's even spending attention on this. Like the world is falling apart because Donald Trump has basically led us into this quagmire that is going to be, horrific because there's no way out of this. There's no good way out of this for us. We've lost the war against Iran, and he has time today to write a tweet about Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly. I mean, which other president would ever write a tweet like that? Never mind in the middle of a massive international crisis. We're heading into yet another upswing in the war there because the ceasefire is not going to hold up.
No, and that is the best point yet, right? Like we read the craziness, it's craziness, but that craziness, this is the longest Truth Social post he's ever put out.
Yeah.
This is the angriest he's ever been. And in a time of war, when you're still getting your ass kicked, when the entire country is in the toilet economically, gas is $5.27 a liter. We just watched Lev Parnas fill up his car, half a tank though, because it's expensive. Like literally, we just watched it on the show. And you know what he's thinking of? Oh, and by the way, his wife just ripped open the Epstein files wound again, bigly. And he's like, guys, biggest problem I have today is Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens. They're all fucking losers.
I can't believe I'm saying these words. I'm going to just say them, but you sort of alluded to this earlier on. Is Jeffrey Epstein, the return with Melania, actually better than the war? So he's bringing it back into the news limelight because it's the only thing they have left on the shelf is to bring back Epstein. They're like, look at what can we throw? What can we throw at the shelf? Because that's what it's beginning to look like. That is just the news is so terrible out of the war that he's lost the war.
It dawned on me today as soon as I saw the clip, and it was funny because I just did a clip, a pre-record with Steve Schmidt for Tomorrow Dead Air earlier, and the clip kind of broke, and I was watching it. And we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, right? And I thought to myself, is this the old distraction switcheroo? Like, is this the okay? We got to distract from the Epstein files. We're getting killed. Attack Iran. Okay, that did it. Now the rest of the world's on fire. Everybody's paying attention to us. Great. Let's run this out for like 40 days. At the end of the 40 days, we're getting our asses kicked. My numbers are plummeting. My approval numbers are in the fucking toilet. I got no friends. I'm being embarrassed by every NATO country in the world. They're telling me to go fuck my hat. I'm asking for help. I've done everything. I've begged behind the scenes. I've done it all. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. And in Trump's mind, or the people around him, they're like, you know what? Why don't we send Melania out to start talking about how she's not a victim of Jeffrey Epstein? And let's see if we can switch through, because this is worse than the Epstein thing right now. And to your point, if the tariff shelf is empty and the excuse shelf is empty, and you have people running away from him, you've got his entire media influencing ecosystem turning on him. Something's afoot, friends. Yeah. Something's afoot.
I mean, because there isn't a good way out of this. We should actually get to the other news. Should we do that quickly? Because there's a few other stories we should hit today before we leave.
Nah.
You don't know? You don't want to?
Nah.
You're all juiced up on that. You know what the best news today, the best story today was about the renaming of Canada's renaming of the LGBTQ. I think that was all over Twitter. Did you read that?
Let's quickly talk about that. What's the new
I was going to talk about the real news first. This is something being pushed by Elon Musk. It's right wing sort of, propaganda is really what it is. But some member of parliament was upset about the lack of money going to Indigenous populations, and she made a statement which she used the long version of the term that is LGBTQ. So I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to play. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, go ahead. You play the clip.
I'll play this clip.
When the budget was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous. This is callous.
I mean, the news is big there.
Whoa.
Yeah, but that acronym is hilarious. I mean, it is very long.
Dude, and you as a gay man, and I asked you this. I'm like, where are you at with the acronym? Where are you at? And you're like, it's too many letters.
It's a lot of letters, but it's also. Yeah, I remember the time when it was just like the LGBT community. Like it was fine, okay, I get it. I understand the connections. I see how it all fits. Now it's this endless acronym. But there was this really funny clip, which I'll play you if you want. But it's an AI thing of JD Vance winning the spelling bee on this word. It's a laugh out loud thing.
Yeah.
And then we can end, because I think you just deserve this laugh.
AD, if you spell this word correctly, you will be crowned this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee Champion. The word is Meathwig 2 Slug Buck E+.
Can you give me the country of origin, please?
Yes, of course. The country of origin is none other than Canada.
Can Can you give me the definition, please?
A single word used to describe every minority group ever conceived, including several that are still pending approval.
Mish, wig 2, slug, bupku, ia, e, plus. Can you use it in a sentence?
You are not a member of the Maywig 2 Slug QQEA plus community, therefore we will not be hiring you for this position.
Me wig 2 slug baku ea plus. MMIWG 2 SLG T Q I A plus.
That is correct. You are this year's National Spelling Bee champion. Congratulations.
It's so funny.
So let me give people some backstory.
Yeah.
That MP, that was just her. Canada is not, we don't have a thing where we're like, hey, you're going to have to use all of these different letters now or you're canceled. Like that doesn't exist. And the whole op, to your point, it came from a guy I know. His name's David Parker, and he runs Take Back Alberta. And interesting guy, if you will. He's a separatist. And Elon Musk jumped on the back of his tweet. He's like, yeah, this is ridiculous. So this is now being presented as a mandate for Canada.
Yeah.
You got to call basically every marginalized, you got to take all the marginalized group, put them in. And the acronym is this. And that woman, I don't know her. I don't even know who she is. That's craziness to everybody in this country. Like everybody, we laugh and we go our own way. And then all of a sudden it gets picked up and becomes this big news story. And everybody's like, oh, look what you're doing with the gays and the Indians. And you're like, what are you fucking talking about? But this is the acronym. MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA/+sign. The young lady, Leah Gazan, by the way, I don't know her. I just found out her name is Leah Gazan. She doesn't even know, was asked what it stood for, and she doesn't even know right now, but she's just trying to be inclusive. It stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls and Two-Spirit, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Questioning has now been added, the intersex and asexual people. Listen, guys, America just tried to hang that on us just because some crazy woman in the house in the house here in Parliament, MP, was like, I'm just going to come up with my own name for it because I want to be mega exclusive. And you're like, sure. I don't even take offense to her if that's what you want to call it. You want to include Indigenous people because you're Indigenous in this marginalized sort of label?
I take offense. What happened to the gay community? What happened to the gay community? We used to have like an identity, and they had it was a community of gay guys or gay women.
The G's started this, right? And the L's jumped on.
And then suddenly everyone's jumping on. And now it's everybody's, but we don't have a community anymore because everybody's in our community, and it's all because we had a nice, queer parade or something in queer pride parade, and suddenly everybody wants to join the party. It's not like we're doing this because we want to show our pride in ourselves and be who we are in our community. We're not doing this because we're already part of this community. We want to show you how proud we are of it. Also, we really love having people over. We love having people join the parade. It's great. It's done half the time for people outside of it, but it is not, it's, what's the point of having it's having a club of people who are like-minded and then everybody else joining the club. So it's no longer a club of like-minded people. It's now everybody's club. It makes the point.
And any single person who feels marginalized is now just adding the initials of who they identify as into the G. It started as LGBT. Actually, it was the gay community first. If you remember, the G's started the whole thing. Then the L's jumped in. And then you're like, you know what? Let's bring in the B's and the T's, right? We'll bring in the bisexuals, we'll bring in the trans people. And to your point, a little crowded. The needs of those communities are different. And you being a stalwart gay man, very proud gay man who loves gay rights, fought for gay rights in Canada and the United States, I can see how the gay community is like, okay, we'll take you, but mind your P's and Q's. This was a gay man's movement to begin with. And then all of a sudden, in come the Q's, two of them now, queer and questioning.
That's
The
so
I,
interesting.
which is intersex, you're like us too, and you're like, guys, too many letters. And then in comes the A's, the asexuals. You're like, hey, listen, you're an entire subsection altogether. This is
Yeah.
about the sex, right? This is
Yeah.
about the doing it. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're not interested in any of that. And
Yeah.
then now we have two-spirit, unsure what that is.
That is the
And-
native version of bisexual, which already sort of exists, or gay. Sorry, I think gay is what they call it. But it, that exists.
This,
It
this is
exists.
setting up. This is setting up for the L's, the G's, the B's, and the T's
Yeah.
to have a problem with the the MMIWs.
It's
and
the missing
Ds.
and murdered. I mean, surely at least you can be alive. I mean, I understand people were murdered and it's a very serious story, but I mean, at least it's a community of live people. That would be better than, yeah.
Well, I think there's room enough in the beautiful country of Canada to have individual groups
I think
advocate
so.
for the individual needs of those
think so.
individual groups instead of everybody hijacking the L's, the G's, the B's, and
Yeah.
the T's.
And we'll support everybody. I mean, whoever needs the
Yes, of
support of the
course.
gay community will
The
be
G's
there.
will
We'll
go to
support
the
you.
L's, the
Yeah.
L's and the G's will go to the MMIWGs, right?
Yeah,
you
but
guys
we
all
like
help
our own
each other.
community. We just like our own
Yes.
community. Sometimes there's some things that gay guys like to talk to each other about. That it's just gay stuff that maybe
Like what?
You-
Tell me.
Dean, I tell you all the time. You and I have these conversations all the time. But it's there's some things you wouldn't necessarily go and talk to everybody about. You want to
Yeah.
discuss your own community issues. It's not
Yeah,
just about the
hey,
parade.
I'm
the
with
parade
you.
is fun.
But when the geopolitical aspects of this, just here to remind everybody, that is an op. That is one woman,
Yeah.
Leah Gazan, not very well respected in this country, from what I just read. Someone just actually, a buddy of mine just sent me a tweet. He's watching this and he works in the government. He's like, no one likes her. Like nobody likes her. That's great. Just as a person, I don't care where you're from. Not talking about her culture. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. He's like, nobody likes her. And I'm like, clearly, now we all know. Yeah, we all know why.
I mean, it is very. I mean, the acronym was actually was designed to make it easier to remember and not harder. But now it's so long that no one can even remember what it is. Like I could not.
You got to give it just a general name, like a man.
Like everybody.
Like
It's for
Doug.
everybody.
Doug
just
or
like
Alan.
Alan. Yeah,
We've changed
it would be so much
names.
easier.
It's good. We're just going to be called Edward now.
Yeah, for efficiency, we've just called ourselves Ed. Or John. All right. I guess that's the show. Dean, I know you're stepping into a vacation period, so you'll be on the show, but not as consistently. But we'll see you
Yeah.
from wherever you are around the world. But in the meantime, there's so many
Rica.
good stories on deanblundell.substack.com that I wanted to talk about with you. The draft story, I think, is such a good story. We're going to put that on the show today. Plus the Pope story, which is a story about the Pentagon threatening the Pope, because that's the world we're living now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They threatened him. They're like, we'll just bomb Vatican City. Get on the boat.
I mean,
get off the boat.
where are we? And then the other story, the King Charles story, really fascinating story about how King Charles stepped in to sort of save Canada from the grasp of Donald Trump. I think those are all fantastic stories. Everyone should check out deanblundell.substack.com. Really, really good writing and really good stories, lots of good topics. And I wanted to talk about them today, but Melania surpassed
Melania
us.
bogeyed the whole thing. We had to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
with it, though. Yeah, but go to deanblundell.substack.com. To your point, I'll be gone for about 10 days. I'll be popping in and out, everybody. If you don't see me, don't worry about it. Dino has to go touch some grass for a few days. I've been given my marching orders by my partner, so that's what we have to do, and I'm excited to go away with her. But I will be doing Dead Air. I will be popping in with my friend Zev Shalev here on the FiveStack. We will have a couple of daily Dean news updates, a couple of standalone stories, but not necessarily as prolific as when I'm, not on vacation. So
You are prolific. You write and do so much work. It's incredible. I'm so impressed every day by your
I love
output.
it, man. I love it. And
Yeah.
folks, I'll miss you, but everybody, Zev's going to keep the lights on the FiveStack. He might be doing it on his own. I'm trying to get him to bring some guests in because I like watching him riff with people. Plus, it's just always good to have a guest host hold your seat warm, if you will, so I don't get replaced or you don't go, fuck it, I'm going to do it on my own. Forget Dean, I don't need him.
Never.
But everybody needs
Never
to go to
happened.
narrative.org because he's going to hold the fort down. please, please, please make sure you follow Zev Shalev. The work that you are doing right now is unparalleled, specifically when it comes to crypto, when it comes to Tether, when it comes to Howard Lutnick. And I imagine we're going to be seeing some Melania stuff today.
Well, the Melania stuff, I had that story already published a few weeks ago, but I reposted it now on the site at narrative.org. Everyone should check it out. It goes through all the Epstein files, mentions of Melania, and those two things we mentioned earlier. And there really is a record showing that Epstein and Melania and Donald are connected. And there's also stuff around the insider trading, the Donald Trump insider trading on oil, on the prediction market as well. It's $1.5 billion traded in the 5 minutes prior to his ending of that threat that he was going to destroy Iranian civilization. It's a lot of money. People are getting hugely rich off the American military and this, are we at a ceasefire? Are we not at a ceasefire situation? This man knows how to play the media. He knows how to play the market, and he's doing it for mucho bucks right now. So that is the FiveStack today. Have a great trip. We shall see you again when you return. And thank you at home for being here.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.